Hello, this is the TradeSite U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview and Domestic Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Monday the 4th of December 2017, ending Friday the 8th. Welcome to the last month of the year. It was an interesting week. It was a good week. Stocks picked up a bit. The news headlines say up, but at the same time, the biggest money was made on the downside, especially on Wednesday, as the tech stocks fell apart. So no matter what your news headlines are, it's not that pretty. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market futures form. Looks decent, sitting up here at highs. Let's go through everything and see what we got. So we'll go through the major indices on the daily charts. Then we'll look at the intra-week action. We'll look at the data coming out this week. So crude oil up 96 cents on Friday to 58.36, and that is almost a new high for the last year. Gold up $5. That's nothing for the last year. The S&P was down 5 after gaining on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in theory. Here's where it's interesting. The NDX, the NASDAQ 100, got clobbered on Wednesday, bounced back a little bit on Thursday, and then lost 27 points on Friday, even though it gapped lower and closed better than where it opened. But there's definitely some signs of weakness. Where do you see some of these big stocks that have held the market up for a while? The SOX index, this is the semiconductors. Look at that 13 sell signal 8 days ago, and look at how we've sold off straight since then. Biotech's up $8.49. The VIX gains 15 cents. It was much higher than that, hit 14 at one point in the morning on Friday. Trend at 0.82. That takes, I told you that 10-day moving average at 0.96. Let's count backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 days back is only a 1.10 reading, but all the 10, 9, and 8 days back are all above 1. So if we get numbers down like we have been way here under the 0.8, 0.9, 0.8 level, the next three are going to replace numbers that are much higher, especially 3 days out on Wednesday, the 1.4. That could easily take the 10-day moving average under 0.85, and that's the sell signal on the market if it happens. Here's the NASDAQ volume at 1.9 billion shares. I'm sorry, at 2.3 billion shares. Who said 1.9? 2.3 billion shares. And again, it was higher than that on Wednesday and Thursday. But it was high all week. And remember, a lot of it was the tech stocks. They've been really negative. That's the thing you got to focus on. Advanced decline ratio on the NASDAQ, positive 201 on Friday. Positive 94 on the New York on Friday. Google loses $11.10, cracks the lows, although it didn't close under that of the last month or so into that gap. Apple loses 80 cents. Not a big deal. Amazon down 14.40 again. This thing, remember the 13 sell signal, this thing got clocked back on Wednesday. Netflix has been under a 13 sell signal for a while and lost 76 cents. Tesla loses $2.32, even though it currently has a 13 buy signal in place from a just lower price. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, actually popped up, swept. Look at the volume on this thing. Swept new highs. This is, remember, the bond, this goes up. It means lower interest rates. It's interesting. Goldman Sachs up $1.31. It's still operating. That 13 sell signal really already made the move you needed over the month since it happened, but I'm just pointing that out. We'll look at the Dow. We don't really look at the Dow much because we don't really care, but the Dow has hit 24,231. It's 30 stocks, including Goldman Sachs, weighted heavily there, so one or two stocks can move that thing. All right, let's take a look at the week on the futures in intraday bars of 10 minutes. So Monday, flat opening, basically sideways. It's flat all day. Like one little dip over lunch and flat. Tuesday, gap up and push up, and then continue to push up in the afternoon. Wednesday, small gap up. We filled it. We closed dead flat. Thursday, gapped up sideways for an hour, then popped and came back a little bit. Friday, flat, flat, flat. Then the dip on the news that Flynn had given the guilty verdict, and then came back and closed just down slightly for the day. This is very different, though. This is not often this happens. That's the S&P, the broad market. Here's a look at the NASDAQ side, on the other hand. Monday, flat, open flat, was flat all day, closed about where it opened. Tuesday, small gap up, didn't really do anything, flat again. Wednesday, sold off sharply. They got out of these tech stocks like crazy on heavy, heavy volume for the first 3 hours of the day, and then kind of flattened out. Thursday, small gap up and did nothing. Friday, small gap down, filled the gap, and then dipped on that Flynn news, and then came back a bit. So the NASDAQ's down for the week, and on heavy volume on the big stocks, they got sold off. That's what you got to remember. Always follow the volume. All right, so what are we looking at for the week ahead? Well, there is quite a bit of data, including a Fed meeting. It's a two-day Fed meeting. Sorry, let me adjust this. It's a two-day Fed meeting. So that means the Fed meeting starts on Tuesday and ends on Wednesday with the announcement. But let's look at all the data that's coming out. Monday at 10 a.m., JOLTS job openings. Tuesday, PPI an hour before the bell. Federal budget balance 2 p.m. Tick long-term purchases at 4. Wednesday, CPI an hour before the bell. Crude oil inventories an hour in. 10-year bond auction at 1 in the afternoon. You got the Fed announcement at 2, and the press conference for that half an hour later. So that's the big one. Thursday, retail sales and the weekly unemployment numbers and import-export prices an hour before the bell. Business inventories 10 a.m. Natty gas an hour in. 30-year bond auction. And then Friday, Empire State Manufacturing Index an hour before the bell. Capacity utilization and industrial production. Wait, I'm a week off on all these numbers. I apologize. This is horrible. Let's go back and do this again. This is the week ahead. They moved the calendar on me. So there is no Fed announcement this week. Interesting. Factory orders, Monday at 10 a.m. Trade balance, an hour before the bell. That's one of our big three each month, so we'll be looking at that one as a gap. Final services PMI. ISM non-manufacturing PMI. Wednesday, ADP non-farm employment change, revised non-farm productivity, revised unit labor costs, crude oil inventories. Thursday, challenger job cuts, the weekly unemployment claims, natty gas, consumer confidence. Friday, the unemployment rate, that's the big one. Wholesale inventories and consumer sentiment. Not sure how that got mixed up. All right, so we don't have all the stuff that we were looking at, but we do have the trade balance and some of the big ones. We'll see what we get. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trip.